Well, let's get started. Okay, so we got a couple exciting announcements. Kristen Yanker Hansen, thank you so much, has consented to have a coffee in the garden on in June. That is exciting, and
yay, she has
Kristen shares all the time, and so it'll be fun to see her garden in person, to see what got a big property and all sorts of wonderful plants, and obviously unusual and interesting, and Kristen loves color, so it should be colorful as well.
Also, a lot of micro environments that are wonderful. You know, she takes advantage of them very well.
You guys are sweet. It's controlled chaos, guys. It's controlled chaos.
So anyway, that should be fun. We're looking forward to that. And then Daisy Ma, who's up in Sacramento, who was gardener, curator, and developer of the WPA garden up there, has consented to open up her garden, and we're going to see if we can get a couple more gardens. We haven't got a date yet. We're thinking in May, so it's going to come up quickly, so we can see if we can get that together. So that should be wonderful as well. So that's exciting. And like I said, I talked to some folks today, and Heather's on there, who I talked with, and I talked to Jane Freeman. She is willing to join the board, and I really appreciate that.
That's
great.
True.
Heather is our enthusiastic cheerleader for young people, and hopefully we'll
yay,
be able to get some young folks together. So she has a lot of great ideas. So that's exciting. But I think we still need a couple more folks. So, because of course, if you have more folks, it lessens the burden to everybody, and it's we want to make it fun rather than burdensome. So, and I appreciate everybody contributing. Got a lot of sharing tonight. So that's going to be fun too.
Judy Wong, I just want to tell you that I posted a picture of those gladiolas you gave me last year on the Friends of Cal Hort site, just to know. And I said that being a member of Cal Hort, you often get cool plants. And that was the one I posted and said, and so much of my garden, and truly so much of my garden, is made up of plants from people from Cal Hort.
I love that about gardens, they're all little memories.
Yeah.
You can visit all your friends by walking through your garden.
Exactly. I certainly have a lot of you, Judy.
Oh. Did your lacaniellas bloom this year?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, I think the rain actually was good for everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so thank you, everybody. You can see all the people that participated this month. Thank you so much. Everybody's gardens, I think, are exploding with all sorts of fun stuff. So thank you so much. And thank you for adding to the conversation. Hello, Beryl.
Hi. I was trying to find this plant, Cestrum noellii, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I was able to propagate it, and that's all I have to say about that.
How old is it and how tall is it?
Well, right now, this is kind of its first year. So it's only, it's a couple of feet tall, but actually I have an interesting question. I actually do have another one of these plants in another place in my garden. And last year when the native California butterfly, the monarch larvae finished eating the leaves of a plant, and the other cestrum was near it, and the leaves were complete. Is it possible that they would have eaten the leaves of a cestrum? All I know is that
only went after asclepiad type plants. That's what keeps them from getting eaten by birds, because the asclepiads are toxic.
You might try. Well, the foliage of these are toxic evidently as well.
Right, but that doesn't mean it's. I thought it was. Well, maybe. I mean,
well,
maybe
no, I agree with you. I understand it's also the Asclepias, but
I don't think this one had. This is in the solanums, isn't it? And solanums, it's not. A lot of solanums are toxic.
A lot of them, yeah.
So, but monarchs don't go after those. At least I haven't heard of that. But maybe there's another butterfly that you have around.
Yeah, I'm sure that there is. There are a lot of
there are a lot of butterflies and moths that eat Solanaceae. I mean, think about the tomato hornworm. That's everywhere, and it's one of the hawkweed moths that can hover like a hummingbird.
Oh, wow. That would be
But-
cool to see.
But I would very much doubt it was monarchs.
You'll have to do a little bit more investigation, Beryl, and report back.
Well, I'll have to see what happens next year. Keep
So
my eye
did
out.
you propagate this last fall then?
You're on a different plant now.
Well, I know I'm trying to get back to the other one, but
I don't really remember how long ago I propagated it. Okay, so this plant, Hymenopsis acaulis, has a new name, Tetranius acaulis. And I need help because I thought acaulis means no stem, and those flowers actually have a stem. So I don't really understand why it's called acaulis.
foliage doesn't
with-
seem to have a stem though.
Right, is that it?
I'm
The
guessing.
foliage, eventually develops a little bit of it. Anyway, I've had this plant for years and I really like it. And Ellen put up some information about it, about, where it grows in the western states, except not Oregon or Washington, but it is either completely deer resistant or very deer resistant, depending on which website I read, and it's drought tolerant and rabbit resistant. So I've had this plant in this pot for years, and I don't really do much to it.
Does it bloom
but-
each year?
Yeah, it blooms almost year round, actually.
Uh-uh.
Wow. Could you save seed on that? It looks like one that we'd love for the Lake Merritt Rock Garden.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay,
Mary.
thank you.
will
Okay,
do
thank you,
that.
Beryl. Charlotte,
Yeah, so this first one, the gladiola, I just got not too long ago at Annie's. Thank you, Cal Hort, for the Christmas prize, which I probably spent 20 times over at
Yeah,
at Annie's. The iris, I think I probably also got that from Annie's, but I've had it for several years. It's called Fancy Pants.
pretty.
And then the fuchsia Tilliptiana is pretty much an epiphytic type fuchsia, and it's really slow this year. It usually puts out all the flowers and then the leaves, but it took so long for the buds to open. The leaves are coming out already, and the flowers are just opening up now, but it's been in bud for months.
but
Do you
no
think it's
petals.
Cold? It's colder in San Francisco than it usually is too, isn't it?
It is, yeah. A lot
Yeah,
of
it has been, hasn't it? Yeah.
a lot of things.
Or late?
A lot of my fuchsias actually defoliated more than they usually would over winter. And so kind of a semi-dormant spell compared to usual.
Well, that's usual for me.
Yeah, but it's pretty different, and some of my tibachinas look pretty sad from the weather, but the new growth coming out looks good. It's just the stuff that was really exposed looks.
Hey, Charlotte, how tall does Fancy Pants grow? And is it a very large flower?
It's, like the Douglas, Iris Douglas.
Douglasia.
2, 3
Anyway,
feet?
the Pacific Coast Iris, I think, it's a hybrid, but it's,
Oh.
like the rest of them. Yeah, it's kind of a sprawler.
Striking.
Yeah, Iris
Mhm.
Douglasiana.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's probably one of the hybrids with Innominata. Again, that's the parentage of
Sorry.
most, but not all, of the Pacific Coast hybrid iris.
And I just was
Sure.
at Gamble Garden, and I put on Facebook a whole slew of iris hybrids that are on display in their sort of
Charlotte, do you have a name
area.
on the gladiola or species?
Carnia.
Up on the top.
It's got to be a hybrid because isn't Carnia red?
Yeah, I think that's the painted lady is what, that it's either a selection or
Mm.
hybrid or something. Anyways, as I was saying, at the Gamble Garden, there was just a whole collection of beautiful Pacific Coast iris hybrids.
Mm.
And I put it on the Facebook group so you can see it there.
You said it was epiphytic, the fuchsia, and I understand it has like little bulbules on the roots, and there's no petals on that, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, I just have it in a real loose mixture, kind of like I guess orchids, that
Mhm.
I mix so that it doesn't get too wet or stay too wet.
And then Mark, you're on.
Let me unmute. So this is this great big clematis, which rarely does so outstandingly well because I'm so tight with the water. But this year, it got lots of rain. So apparently, like I said, it says 20 to 25 feet, and it probably is.
Oh my.
It also says intensely fragrant, and it really is. I mean, I'm pretty nose blind, but it's easily as pleasant or more so than the best freesias that are also in bloom right now, which I've taken a couple and brought them in the house. But so the other day I brought it. It's kind of hard to bring. You can't bring in one flower with these things. It's huge, and
Yeah.
so you either get a whole branch or you don't get much. So I brought some into Leah. She was pretty amazed too.
Beautiful.
Kind of pinkish when it's in bud. And oh, you did put it in.
Yeah, is that Armandii? Is that the evergreen one?
It is, yes. And
Okay.
Apple
well,
blossom
it's from Burma.
blooms later. Apparently blooms later because my Armandii, and I'm colder than you are, obviously, bloomed and is done already. That's usually a February bloomer for me.
Yeah, usually.
And I noticed online it said, I looked it up and it said, there's nobody's selling it within 50 miles of you. I got mine at Berkeley Hort. So, but some time ago, hasn't done much since I got it. I mean, it blooms a little bit every year, but being that I deprive it so much, it just kind of persists until it gets a banner rain year like this. And then this is the little iris. I've noticed that they have this same iris at the Blake Garden up in Kensington, except it's more white. And don't be confused, the foliage behind it belongs to a blue flowered toad lily, and it's variegated. I really like it actually, and they seem quite happy together, but usually it's only the toad lily that is bloomed. This is the first year this one has gone off, and it's got several branches, and you can see that it blooms on each branch. It's quite a few blooms.
What kind of exposure do you have that Chengdu in? I have one, but it's in a pot and I would like to put it in the ground, but I want to make sure it's not going to disappear.
I've heard people say, I mean, I think it's called bamboo iris because it runs.
Yeah.
And
oh, wow.
so if you had some moisture, I think a shady area is good. I have it.
Okay.
And that center archway where you come from my side garden into my back garden, kind of closer to the house so that it's in a bit of shade most of the time.
Okay, great. It's beautiful. And mine is also blooming. This is
pretty
that
fun.
one's
Huh?
gorgeous. Yeah. Oh,
Came
really
from
fun.
Annie. Yeah.
Really beautiful.
I have one that's whiter than that, and it's really multiplied a lot in the ground.
Oh, that's great to know. I'm now thinking about, well, will it be a little bit moist and where it might be able to take over someplace? That would be quite welcome, I think.
I know, right? Amazing what a lot of water will do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this one, I already got help from Ellen, and she nailed it. This is, as soon as she wrote Persicaria, I realized, of course, that's what it is. And it sure does look like red dragon.
Mhm. Okay.
Doesn't the green, I mean, a leaf should be green, right? So on the left where you see the green, it just seems so striking. I mean, plus it's sort of a little on the turquoise side, I guess, but it's such a contrast. And I have this in a fairly shady area. It's under a persimmon tree and next to a fence, so it's fairly shady, and it always does pretty well.
Is it kind of, a couple feet tall and spreads? kind of
Yeah.
sideways?
Maybe about 3 feet or so, I'd say. And a couple of them are quite a bit larger, and one of them is a little bit smaller. Maybe it's got too much root competition. I've got an next kind of more under that big poderania vine I got from Kathy Eccles, and I think it probably is sucking out all the moisture, but that's okay. The other two are carrying the show. Thank you, Ellen.
Okay.
Mark, your Brunsvigia did not flower this year, did it? From Kathy Eccles?
No, not yet.
Okay.
And I don't know that it will. Frankly, if it doesn't, I'll count that a good thing. It'll probably be good for the plant. But if it does bloom, I'll be eager to photograph the heck out of it.
Mine's showing no sign of blooming, but it's looking healthy.
Well, the other Brunsvigia from seeds that I got from Ken several years ago, bloomed for the first time last summer. And I was just checking to see when it was. I think it was like July. So
Oh,
Well,
so
most of
it
them bloom in the fall,
still has time.
but
yeah.
I'll be patient. Yeah,
Right.
great.
So I wouldn't write it off yet, but
Right.
on the other hand, if it doesn't bloom, I think it might be best for the plant. So either way,
Yeah.
I'm good.
they kind of have the cycle of the naked ladies, so they'll bloom in the fall and
Oh, okay.
So
Great,
they'll be-
thank you.
foliage
Yeah,
lists.
and-
Oh,
I've got
Um,
the they're not the high, well, they must be a hybrid or, no, they're not a hybrid, but the Amaryllis belladonnas that are all different colors.
Uh-huh.
And they start blooming in late July, depending on the color, and then bloom an extended period of time all the way into September. So I get like 2 solid months of color out of them, all different ones. but
Oh,
every-
wonderful.
Yeah, I have some hybrids and they're later, about a month later than the regular ones.
Well, the pink ones, well, it varies, but yeah.
Cool. Were you saying something, Bart?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that my mine that was also from Kathy Eccles is beginning to go dormant now.
Oh,
So the leaves are turning yellow and
Really?
yeah, and I have another one and it's doing another big one that's doing the same thing.
well, I won't
So-
be.
Are they in pots?
Yeah, they're in huge pots.
Ah.
They're in
Huh.
about 3 feet by 3 feet pots.
Wow.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, big,
And-
long, fat, long runner roots.
Does
Yeah,
it ever bloom without the leaves like calla? I mean,
I think that's what they're supposed to do. It's
other
way.
that it's these
ah,
are Brunsvigia josephinae,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that they will be going dormant anytime from now on. I mean,
Oh,
I haven't watered mine at all because of the rain, and since it hasn't rained a whole lot for about I mean, the little bits of rain that have happened haven't really
Yeah.
affected the pots that much. And so they're just getting ready to go dormant now.
Yeah.
Some of my
Okay.
other South African bulbs are already dormant.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of those oxalis that bloom in the fall, they've already gone dormant completely.
Yeah, mine are beginning to go dormant now too. Which I
Yeah.
was surprised how
Mine's
early
in the,
they-
you'll see mine in a short, and when I get on my thing, so.
And the one I got for the other kind I got, what was it? What's the one that makes more of that doesn't make the fan? I mean, it does make a fan.
Waphany.
Yeah,
Boafin.
Boafany, yeah.
Yeah, the distincta that I got from Ken a million years ago also blooms while there's no foliage on it. So we
Okay.
have that in common. Yeah. And then this little weed is one that I don't know. I found it really charming, but you know how it is with something you don't know. You think, well, yeah, it looks nice now, but I've been a sucker for things like, you know, like this, and then regretted it later.
Oh, indeed.
And apparently this is a garden escapee that grows, it comes from Asia, Europe, but is a weed in North America, but not very vigorous. And it really wants to grow. I think you were saying, Ellen, it doesn't persist very much for you in where you are,
Mhm.
and possibly from the heat, but because this is Bayside, I think it does like it, and I like it pretty well.
Mark, this is Beryl. If I were you, I would get rid of it. It seeds a lot at my house, and
Oh,
I have to keep trying to pull it to control it. I would like to get rid of it, but I'm not able to do that.
She lives in your climate.
It's super easy to pull out, though. I have it kind of
Me too.
meandering through my garden, and right now it's crossing my front steps, but very close to the rocks. So I just love it.
and I always
just
see it.
Well,
I
that's
see
fine.
pictures of it
No.
growing as a between rocks. Yeah, RIL.
yeah, it likes that.
I just
Well,
love it
Trying to
and
remove it for 40 years from my garden. Just keep seeding.
You're scaring me.
it
Still
is
seeding.
something that just doesn't stop. I mean, it's at
Oh.
the Botanic Garden in one of the walls that's holding up Wildcat Canyon Road, and it gets weeded regularly, and it is still there. It was there the first time I visited the garden in the 70s.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it is something to be careful what you wish for if
Yeah.
you're on this side of the hills. I'm sure
Yeah.
if you're further inland, yeah, probably it will die out completely in the summer if you don't water it. But it just seems to persist even with no water whatsoever on that dry wall.
Well, I think
Wow.
I've got a serious question now. I may very well pull it. Well, Sal, were you gonna? Do you have
Yes,
experience?
I wanted to mention that I got a cutting from Mary around the corner. Because I love this plant.
I
and
do
I've tried to-
too.
I've tried to put it in the ground several times and it always dies. It
Oh.
seems to only grow in pots, and I'm suspicious. I think maybe it needs good drainage like you would find
Oh, yes.
in a rock
Yes.
wall.
I
And,
suspect you're right.
like I have seen it on the rock wall up at the Tilden Botanical Garden, and I don't see it anyplace else in the garden. It's just right there on that wall. So maybe if you have a garden with good drainage, maybe it would spread, but most of us have clay.
Right. And I do too. But this is
Yeah,
a little bit
so-
of a raised bed. So
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to mention is this is the host plant for Buckeye butterflies. And of course, that's
Oh,
one of the main reasons
yeah.
I love
Thank
it.
you
is
for
that-
saying that.
is that the Buckeye butterflies will lay their eggs in there, and then the caterpillars will eat the foliage. So it's one of many. They also like English plantain and this and that other ones, but this is another nice one. And I really like this one. I like purple, and this is a pretty plant.
It's going to get covered up shortly. There's the white form of the Mexican salvia in there, and it'll cover the whole bed as soon as it comes out, but it'll look better for being cut back. So that might help this do even better by shading it. I don't know. We'll see.
It likes like dappled shade. Yeah.
You'll have to
That-
report back.
That,
Definitely.
hey, Mark,
Yes, Robbie,
that sounds like a weed winner to me.
I agree. And I like willing growers, you know.
Yeah.
I think the leaf is nice too. Yeah.
Okay. Daisy, are you on?
Mm.
I don't think she's here.
Well, at least she writes little stories with hers, so you have a little bit to go by. Erythema ringens, Japanese cobra lily, growing in bright shade. After 12 or more years, it's beginning to offset. After flowers fade, glossy leaves expand, glossy and dramatic. Tried others, but most despise the Sacramento's hot, dry summers. That is really striking. I would not.
That is
one of those
really, that's
myself.
an amazing plant. Yeah.
Does anyone else
Very
have it?
nice.
Do you have it, Mary?
No, I don't, and I'd love to have it.
I know, it's just starting to offshoot, dang.
So it's an aroid? Is that,
Yeah.
am I
Yeah.
seeing this correctly? Okay, thank you. Beautiful. Wow, I love the stripes.
Anybody else have experience with it? Bart?
Not,
Sure.
not with that one, but I grow other ones.
The leaves look a little like Trillium, which is in full bloom in Redwood Regional Park right now. It's
Oh.
beautiful, yeah.
Japanese cobra lily. This looks like that,
There it
Okay,
is. Wow, it's very fragrant.
and this one
Okay.
is,
this is the red form.
this one is, yes, what's its name? Let me get her
remember.
email, because I'll read what she said in her email.
Because I grew the yellow one in a client's yard for years, and then they sold the house, and the people who moved in killed it almost immediately.
Oh,
They
yeah,
had no idea what they had.
yeah.
Evidently, this is like 6 feet tall. It's really quite tall.
Yeah, it's a spectacular plant if you have the right place, but I think it needs drainage.
Well, it's Daphne relative, so I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. Oh, this is Chrysantha, Edgeworthia Chrysantha. Akibono is the one with the red. Though it kind of translates as pink in the thing there. The other one is from Philoli. I had a picture of it from Philoli, the close-up one. In bright shade, deciduous, fragrant Daphne relative used in Asia for making high-end paper. Interestingly enough.
Must get really big to do that.
Evidently, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I assume it comes from the wood of the plant.
Mhm.
And this is spectacular, this peony that she has.
Oh, the tree peony. Oh,
4.5 feet tall, seed grown, partial shade, fragrance, happy with cold winter from China and Japan. Peony was grown from seed by the late John Phillips, who married into famed and long gone Beecher's nursery outside of Stockton. If anybody knows of that, I don't, but if anybody has any history of that, that might be interesting.
oh, that's beautiful.
It's a tree peony type as opposed to a perennial peony.
Yeah, that's nice.
Looks like it, huh? Doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it definitely. The leaves of this are matte, where the
But most of those are
Mm.
grafted, are they not?
I don't know if it's hard to root on its own wood, but so I can't tell you. I had a few tree peonies for quite a while, but the drought did them in because I didn't water them.
I have had that same experience. Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't give them
the
enough
perennial
water.
peonies do not suffer, but the tree peonies really took it.
Yeah,
That color, wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, look at this.
And then this night heron. So this is from former Heronswood Nursery, and
That's an epimedium. That's not Dysphorum.
oh, that's
Right,
Thank
it's
you.
epimedium.
Who messed up these slides?
Well, it's the names and the plants. Do you have a?
Okay, so
name?
this is what this is. Let me get her thing.
That's
Okay.
more like it.
Somebody want to read that? I'll get the other.
Glad
thing.
Daisy's not here.
Well, she could have corrected
So-
all these.
So this
Yeah.
plant, native to China, is over 6 feet high in the shade in Daisy's garden, introduced from the former Heronswood Nursery. The plant has creamy white bell-shaped flowers followed by snail, shiny black fruit. The
Wow.
form is reminiscent of bamboo and gives that vertical texture. The literature indicates it does like moisture. She must be watering.
Yeah, she's got, right. She's
Every-
got,
Growing is water, but they get water out there. They have their
They've
way.
got that river going through there.
I
where
know.
is she?
She's in Sacramento.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But we did have 25, 30 inches of water this year.
Yeah, yeah, we did have a lot of
Well,
water this year.
36, 37 actually out here, but
Wow.
to keep it going like that, well,
Yeah.
maybe she took out the kitchen water and the bath water and
Yeah,
I think they used to have free water, didn't they? With the river going right through there? Seems like I remember that
I
somewhere.
don't, that could be, because they also have to deal with floods. I
Mm.
mean, I don't know if it's still doing that, but Sacramento's used to have real problems with flooding.
Okay, so this is the epimedium hybrid Amber Queen is gratefully a long bloomer with court jester flowers, happy in filtered shade.
Had no
Mm.
idea they could make flowers like that.
yeah.
I've only ever killed them. They want more moisture.
Okay, Kristen, you're on.
So, I planted all different kinds of erysimums over the years, and being the chaos controlled garden that it is, everything gets to do what they want to do. And as a result, and this is just a few of the color forms. Dave Fikes was out visiting a few weeks ago and said, what's the name of that one? And I said, beats me. It just came up where it did because I never planted it or bought it. I let them go to seed, which maybe they'll be in seed when you come out. So they get a little ratty looking, but I'm getting older. And Wayne Roderick used to say, seeds are beautiful too, Kristen. And I have
Yes.
to tell you that the joy, this stuff started blooming in December. Now,
Oh,
and not as bright as in this picture, the first picture, but the color started coming forward, and now I just want it all to bloom. It just blew my mind. It bloomed all winter.
oh, that's
about that.
great.
So I love these plants. I love to go out and look and see what new forms come out. I like a garden that changes, and mine does all year round. And I think I'm not a very structured gardener, and I'm not very into the design. I mean, there is design, obviously, but not formal design. I don't like that at all. I only do it to punctuate the fact that there's so much chaos. So I put a few some symmetric items in the garden, but mostly not. And I just think this is joyous.
It
Well,
is
it's nice to have
joyous.
those
It's
surprises,
wonderful.
you know? I love
It's
that.
like Christmas every day. I love that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Kristen, I just saw the first chapter of the Sissinghurst series that the Garden Conservancy is showing.
Mhm.
They're 1-hour programs that are being done by the Director of Gardening at Sissinghurst. And
Oh, nice.
Vida Sackville West loved these wallflowers, and she grew all the different colors, and they're growing them again at Sissinghurst. So you are right in the thick of things as far as
Back in fashion.
Yes, yes.
By the way, if anybody wants to see more of those Sissinghurst programs, you can sign up for the remaining chapters one at a time through the Garden Conservancy. And it wasn't very expensive for a member. It was just, and they're great. Gosh, it was wonderful. It's part of history and all these absolutely to die for pictures of Sissinghurst.
Ooh.
And there's
Wow.
3 more chapters. You see, he just did spring. So they're going to do summer, winter, fall.
Oh,
So go to
Thanks,
your Garden
Bonnie.
Conservancy website and check it out.
Mhm.
thanks for sharing that. That's cool.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful. Really cool.
Okay, what else? Let's Kristen's garden. Okay, why isn't this?
I know I sent you a lot, and I thought, oh, she's upset with me for sending so much.
Oh, that looks great. That's beautiful.
Make
Okay.
them last, Kristen. We want to see it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
so this wisteria was here when we bought the house 36 years ago, and it has its biggest bloom now without the leaves, obviously. There's a grape, by the way, up there. And this particular one, Dick built the trellises because this was moving out into the driveway all the time, and it drove me crazy.
Mm.
So this is Lou and Miller told me it must be Cook's Purple because this is a reblooming wisteria. So every time we have a heat wave and we cool down, it sets out buds and starts blooming again. But of course, it's
Wow.
not as showy as it is now. And it climbs up into my Palo Verde, but it lives fairly happily with the grape. I don't need that many grapes. I'm only one person, you know, and I have grapes on other trellises too. And I have a different wisteria about to bloom, and I'm about to leave for Bhutan, and I'm going to miss that bloom. I have friends taking photographs. The next picture is my peony, which I bought in a bag at Costco. I'm a big Costco fan, although I have to tell you, I'm very disappointed. Costco no longer has the cool stuff. Everything is vanilla at Costco, along with, I remember going to Costco years ago, and then they would have something really different, like, oh, I can't think of the name now, but that it begins with a K and it's in the Amaryllidaceae, and it has a red flower and it blooms in the summer. It needs water. It'll come to me maybe after the meeting is over. What?
Bulb?
Yes, in the Amaryllidaceae, and well, whatever. But I mean, you found really cool stuff. Now it's just very common stuff.
It's very common, yeah.
But the nurseries are also selling. I mean, even the high-end nurseries are all going to come, and it's terribly disappointing for me. I mean, I still find stuff, but still. At any rate, so the peony is one I bought in a bag, and I'm just showing it because this is one of those things I'm going to miss. I think there are 25 bloomable buds on it right now.
Wow.
I have never had this many. And this is the only one that reliably bloomed even during the drought. Not a lot in the drought, but it did reliably bloom. And what blows my mind is when I first started growing peonies, I was told that they need to be, people put ice cubes around them out here. I never did that. But then I went to see a peony person down in the San Jose area, and don't ask me to remember her name. And she said that the issue wasn't cold, it was that they need to be in full sun. And I come from New Jersey. My grandmother had peonies in New York State along a fence, you know, and it was cold, but it was sunny. And I think everybody thought it was about the cold, but no, it is about the sun. The problem is out here where I am, and this is why I say it's controlled chaos. The trade-off is it's glorious now, but the leaves begin to look really shabby all summer. Yeah. And that's your trade-off. And I'm willing to trade off for this. It's up to you what you're willing to trade off for. But gardening out here is not perfect, as in England, for example. Right. I planted, I don't even remember where I got the Freesia alba. I actually think they were already on site when I moved in. And I think the blue one is a cross from a blue hybrid with the alba, but it never moves any further than this color stage. And I haven't seen any other hybridization going on because I have red, you know, hybrids and yellow hybrids and so on. But I thought it was kind of interesting because this one is multiplying up now in its own right. And the Freesia albas really do seed out for me a lot. And I give them away. Now it's one of those weeds that I really like. So at any rate, it's a great plant if you want it. It dies back, it disappears, it's easy to clean up, and yet it's green all winter and provides this joyous show. My only great sadness is Freesia and Boronia are the two fragrances I cannot smell.
Oh, too bad.
That it's so fragrant, and I know I used to smell Freesias, but I don't smell them anymore. But I like the color, and I know it's giving other people a lot of joy. People always walk by my garden and say, "Your garden smells so good. What do you smell?"
Oh,
you froze.
Fikes out here, as I said earlier, and he was bragging about his Justitia resinii. Am I on? Yeah. His Justitia resinii, and I said, "Yeah, mine's going to bloom. It just takes longer because I'm colder." And here it is. It has just begun to bloom. The Justitias are in the Acanthaceae, I believe. Am I right on that?
I'm not sure.
I think so.
I'll look it up. Go ahead.
At any rate, so this one has.
Yes, they're Acanthaceae.
Thank you. I thought so. I like the Acanthaceae. I've had I lived in this house for 30 years before the deer started coming, and they apparently were desperate because of the droughts we've been having. And they have never touched the Acanthaceae. I don't know why, because I don't think they're poisonous, but then I don't know. And the Acanthaceae and all the tropical plants that I grow, and I grow a lot of tropical plants in the ground now, but the Acanthaceae are reliably come back after quite cold weather. By the way, I had a couple of deer this winter, but they haven't come back. The 1 year they must have fawned in my yard and I wasn't paying attention.
Mm.
But they didn't fawn this year because I ran out and screamed at them. Well, it helps to scream at them. Trust
Yeah,
me. It
yeah,
helps.
it works, huh? Okay.
So
Feel
on the
better.
right, I got very fascinated. Well, part of this was brought on by the deer because deer don't eat iris. Part of it is when I did Jan Hamby's garden many years ago, reblooming Germanicas had just started coming out. And she had one called, who was the great opera singer who was a soprano?
Caruso? No.
Beverly Sills. Beverly Sills.
Beverly Sills. Okay.
Yes, Beverly Sills. And we planted it in her garden. It was an apricot color. And that she had a terrible deer problem, but she had it in the front yard. And that plant bloomed all summer. I was shocked. An iris that bloomed all summer and the deer never
Wow.
touched it. Now, she had a lot of sun there, and I designed my garden. It was perhaps a little stupid on my part. I went to Carmel and I wanted that intensity of color. And I thought by putting shade, sporadic shade in the garden, I would get it. But it stops these guys from reblooming a whole lot for me. But they do, they're blooming now simply because all the trees I have are deciduous. Almost all the trees I have are deciduous. And this is one that I don't even remember the name of. I just love the outrageous color combination.
Mm-hmm.
It is gorgeous color.
Yeah.
One of those surprises.
I love those surprises. I go out every day for Christmas. So I had Byron Martin out here. You've heard him. Some of you have heard him speak. He owns Logie's greenhouses and he and I are good friends. And he always makes a point of visiting. And he was remarking on my Fuyu persimmon here, and there were no leaves out on it. This was given to me by a man named Carmine DeVivi. He's died. He was Father Christmas here in Danville, and he just loved plants so passionately. And he insisted that I had to have this persimmon because it had golden foliage when it came out. It does turn dark green in the middle of the summer, but it's golden for about a month and a half. It makes fabulous fruits, and being the Fuyu, you can start eating it early on. You don't have to wait for it to get cold and soften up. In fact, I prefer it. I use it for salad. I've made persimmon crisps out of it. But I just think it's it's the beginning of its season. It's one of the colors I look out at this time of year.
Okay. Is that the one by your front door?
No, this is in the back, in the fruit orchard.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I was going to piggyback because I have persimmons come in all shapes and sizes. And I have the weeping one, and the fruit's not very big, but it is showy, but it doesn't fruit a whole lot. But I love the form and the really glossy foliage. And I was hoping to get the fall color because I love the persimmons for those amazing fall colors.
Yeah, they are amazing.
But this doesn't get much fall color. And I think it's just because it doesn't get as much sun as maybe it should. Anybody know it?
You might also want to look into putting it where it gets more exposure. The fall color often is triggered by cold or coolness.
Oh, by cold. Oh. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of protected. It's in my courtyard right there, but I like it by the front door.
Yeah, well, find another weeper. There are so many weepers out there.
I just saw a bunch of crab apples and the weeping cherries and stuff in big 15-gallon cans in the nurseries right now, and they're just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's hard to get anything fun in a 1 gallon, that's for sure.
Robbie.
Oh, hi. Yeah. Oh, gosh, this is a hard one to follow. We don't have much going on up here. I mean, we're still in the spring bulb season. Not much in bloom. Some common things like the euphorbia, but it's attractive, I think, and I like it.
Does it
And,
seed out for you a lot like it does here, or is it more controlled?
That's not caricaeus.
It seems to do okay with the cold weather we have, the winter.
Yeah,
We
but that's
get down into the high
this-
20s, low 30s.
Have you
The
ever
van-
got smell the flowers of that one?
What was that, Kristen?
I think if it's like mine, it's sweetly fragrant.
Yeah.
Is yours fragrant, sweetly? Does it have a nice fragrance to it?
Oh, I'm
Which
having a hard
one are
time.
you talking about?
The euphorbia.
The euphorbia, really? It's fragrant. Okay.
Yeah, I have a variegated form of it, which isn't as vigorous up here, and it's not looking quite as good as over the winter.
I
But
don't remember the name of this euphorbia.
it'll bounce
but
back.
I have it. And it's fragrant.
The daffodil in the center, I thought that was Mount Hood, but then Ellen said she thinks not. So I'm not really sure what it is. I would imagine Mount Hood would be all white. So if anybody has any ideas, let me know. And of course, the Western Trillium always excites me, and I want to get more of them because it doesn't spread fast enough.
Are they
and-
native on your property, or did you plant them?
Yeah, this is all on my property, but the trillium's in the front underneath a big rhododendron, so it gets all the shade. And the euphorbia is out in the rose garden, believe it or not, but I want to put a frog pond in, and so that's going to be around the frog pond. I haven't done it yet.
Oh, nice.
But that's about it for us up here because we're just in bud stage for the blooms.
I know I want some frogs to invade my pond, and they don't seem to do that. Well, this is a tuna, and I can imagine there would be some puns to go along with this one. But this is evidently in his garden, and he's documented it from March through now, so about a month, and it looks spectacular. Evidently, it's in the mahogany family, and they're doing, I guess mahogany is hard to find now, and they're doing electric guitars out of this wood now, evidently.
But the foliage is spectacular.
It is. It is spectacular. I wonder how it greens up. It's actually that's a full month of that beautiful red color.
Yeah.
I'll have to get more details from him. I've not seen this ever before. Does anyone else haven't seen this plant before? Any
Not this
experience with it?
I thought they were very tender. We went to
Evidently, it goes up to
They've been growing it in Sacramento Valley for years and years. It's a very, very dependable plant. I've not seen it near the coast. It may do better inland. I don't know.
with the heat.
Yeah,
they-
I know it does well with the heat. That's not a problem.
Nice.
I don't know if it's the same plant, but there's a plant, a shrub that looks kind of like that they call tuna in the southern island of New Zealand. It's grown a lot.
I saw it was native
it's
to
probably-
Australia, but I didn't notice New Zealand. Go ahead, Bart, sorry.
I said it's probably the same thing in New Zealand, Richard.
Okay. I've always wondered what it was.
It's commonly grown in the Dandenong Mountains outside of Melbourne, Australia. That's the first place I ever saw it, and it really is spectacular with that new foliage.
How long does the foliage last, Richard?
Oh, I was only there for a few weeks, so I don't know.
2 or 3 weeks at the most, I'm sure.
Okay. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
So what month would you have seen this in Australia? Like backwards, right?
Add 6 months.
October.
October, November, I believe.
Okay, interesting. Thank you.
Okay.
March actually is more correlated to September. So
Okay.
it might have been late September, October, because April and October are 6 months apart.
Well, Tony, gardens in Sonoma, And I've not been to her garden, but she sent real small pictures, so they're not really in great focus, but I'm not sure if that's the
Mimulus or
mimulus on the left or not. It almost looks like a moist hillside, so it might be.
Mhm.
But then she had a picture of
Yeah, it's
Viola.
Erythranthe guttatus.
What's that?
It's Erythranthe guttatus.
They changed the name?
Monkey flower. Yeah.
oh yeah.
We no longer have mimulus.
Oh
sad.
wow. Thank you, Barb.
What's it called now?
Erythranthe.
Erythranthe. Okay. Well,
ERY,
okay.
meaning red.
Well, cross that out.
And there it is.
And then
You talk about weeds. This is everywhere in my potting area.
which one? The mimulus? I mean the Eryranthes?
Eryranthe. It's a weed in my potting area.
Wow.
But I would
Yeah.
love,
It's sort of anywhere where there's water. And if there's seeds around, they'll come up.
yeah, so now I'm trying to get it to grow in my garden because it bloomed all winter and I thought, well, I have it in spots that I'm hoping it'll take, reseed with the next rains we get and at least give me winter color.
Yeah, well, and that the other thing is that the South American one that frequently is sold in garden centers is actually a different species, but it looks similar.
Yeah.
And
The
it
leaves
can, it's either luteus or cupreus, and the hybrids between them. I grow those as well as guttatus here. They're all very easy.
Okay. And then she has the stink lily or whatever you want to call it, the carrion flower there.
That's,
Yeah.
that's related to the one that Daisy showed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's another aroid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an aroid.
I think this is a spectacular flower.
Yeah, they're tall. They're usually at least 3 feet.
Wow.
There's one we have that's growing in somebody's hell strip on the street
Really?
around the block. Yeah. I mean, it's just one that comes up every year and does its thing.
I think it's spectacular.
Yeah.
The smell is bad because it would be great cut flower material.
As long as you got it down.
Every dog
Years.
I've ever had has chewed off the center spike once.
Oh,
I think the smell's only short-lived though.
okay. Oh, that looks like maybe your same iris. Is that correct, Mark?
It
Looks
is.
like
It
Chengdu,
blooms
yeah.
Wonderfully.
I'll be darned. I was wondering what that was, and then now it just dawned on me. It's what you had, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so obviously she has Geranium matarense, which wonderful reseeder, biennial. Anybody else want to add on to that?
Doesn't reseed in Danville.
Oh, it doesn't.
No, I tried. I love that plant, but it pooped
Even
out
in your
on me.
shady section, huh?
Yep, that's where I put it and it pooped out.
I haven't had great luck with it either, but I haven't tried it more than a couple times.
The straight one on the left there, I've got one that I believe is fasciated this year. It's doing some strange things. I've never seen that get crested before. I keep debating pulling it out because it looks ratty and waiting to see what else it does.
That should be interesting. Well, you had that one, was it an echium? I can't remember. That looked so cool.
Yeah, I love that echium. I enjoy the show. I mean, I know they're suffering, I guess, but what a show.
I don't know that they think they're suffering. They don't know any better.
Exactly.
They're just more compact in their flowering.
That iris, wow.
Okay, and Sal.
Hi,
I was wondering-
everybody. So this is a picture of a rhododendron flower, and I wanted to show the string pollen. So in case you haven't figured it out yet, I'm kind of interested in insects. So this is kind of an insect story. So there's a woman in the eastern United States, Mary Jane Epps, who did some research on rhododendrons, and she found that the flower is so big that when a bee goes in there, it really doesn't connect with the reproductive organs, and they don't really get pollinated by bees or wasps or flies like
Too
most.
much room in there, huh?
There's too much room in there, yeah. But it turns out a big tiger butterfly will go in to get the nectar, and flapping its wings, it connects with this stringy pollen, and then it carries that from flower to flower. And the way that they could easily identify that this butterfly had the rhododendron pollen on its wings was because it was so stringy. And you can see the string there moving between the anther and the stigma. And you can actually see all the little pollen grains in it. And I first found out about this by listening or watching a program, one of those public TV programs. It was called Sex, Lies, and Butterflies. And after I heard about this, I started touching all the rhododendron anthers in the neighborhood, trying to find this string pollen. And it turns out it's kind of rare. The only place you could find it was at the botanical garden, the UC Botanical Garden. And this is a picture from the UC Botanical Garden. And there are several rhododendrons there that have this stringy pollen. When the rhododendron that she did her study on, the flame azalea flowered, it didn't seem to have stringy pollen at the UC Botanical Garden. So it's very strange, and I don't understand why sometimes it's stringy and sometimes it's not. And I want to ask everybody just to go out and touch all the rhododendrons in your neighborhood and see if you have stringy pollen, because I have a very hard time finding it. And it's not destructive whatsoever. You imagine a very light touch, like a butterfly wing, will bring out these strings from the apical pores of the anthers there.
I wonder if it's a timing thing or whatever, if it's certain ripeness or something, or.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be it, because I go back to the same flowers over and over again. I wonder if the weather is just a little bit different in Strawberry Canyon, or I don't know what it is. It's very strange, but it's really hard to find this string pollen.
Well, it's not actually. Most rhododendrons have that kind of pollen. Azaleas don't, because they're not in the same group as the rhododendrons are. But it's very common, and it could be you're just not seeing it because the flowers aren't just producing pollen that year or at all.
So you've seen it before?
Oh yes, hundreds and hundreds of rhododendrons. Yeah,
and
that's how you. If you want
rhododendrons, where are they?
If you want to cross the rhododendrons, you have to get this pollen, and it's easy to pick up, and you stick it on the stigma of the female flower. And actually, many times the sticky pollen or any pollen doesn't arise at the same time as the plant is accepting pollen, to make sure it gets it from a different plant.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
So Richard, are you saying that all the rhododendrons have this sticky string pollen? It's just a matter
I
of.
can't say all. I mean, there's about 1,000 species, and I haven't seen them all, but every one that I've seen does. Yeah. At one time or
That's really
another.
interesting. Maybe there's just something about my technique of trying to catch this pollen that isn't right.
Never heard of it. Very interesting.
Well, the other plants that have that are Anagraceae, in particular, any Enothera. And so if you know, like Camisonia or Enothera hookeri, the big yellow flowered one, just go look at it every morning, and you'll see that the moths have trailed the pollen all over the place.
I'm gonna have to look at that.
Any of the white flowered night blooming Enothera, same thing.
So it's a strategy for large flowers, huh?
Yeah,
So-
well, and for larger pollinators, it's the typically the like the what is it, the white line sphinx moth that behave like hummingbirds.
Yeah.
And visit most of the Enotheras.
Interesting, something to look out
Yeah.
for. That's cool.
Yeah.
So the really common flower in my neighborhood is, what's it called? Is it called Mexican evening primrose? It's pink and it grows about a foot tall.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's
that'll have it too.
That will have it too. Okay, thanks.
You have a what do you call that? A scavenger hunt to go to on tomorrow morning.
Mhm.
So this is Carolyn's, and I just got pictures. So that obviously that's a beautiful cymbidium that's growing. Have you guys priced the cymbidiums lately? They're, oh my gosh.
Pretty.
If anybody's dividing a small green one, I would like one. But anyway, and then there is I'm not sure if, oh, maybe that's hail. You think that's hail?
Sure looks like it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that
Sure.
might be what she's showing here. All her succulents got
Mhm.
hailed there. I really don't know the name of this, but I believe it's probably a leucadendron discolor. And it blooms very reliably every year. I cut it back a little bit last year just to see what it would do. And I think I'm gonna cut it back a little bit more next year. And
Are you growing it in a pot?
it is in that pot that you see right there. Yeah, on the left, on the right there.
That's how you get it to grow, because I've never had luck with leucadendrons.
I had one, the itty bit, no, little bit, and I absolutely love that one. That one's at the Ruth Bancroft garden and has probably maybe 2 or 3 inch flowers, and it gets kind of a nice compact plant, and I absolutely love that. And I've waited about 4 or 5 years before I found it to buy it, and I bought it, and that one died on me, so I have to look for another one of those because I absolutely love it. It was really cute.
I love this one though.
Mhm.
Well, it's really showy in my
Yeah.
garden, and it's it does, like I said, bloom pretty reliably. And then part of it's hanging out in that aloe. I think it's Cameronii. I'm not positive. It has shiny foliage on the aloe, and it turns bright red and has red kind of compact, long flowers, which are flower spikes, which I really like.
So do you water by hand or do you drip your pots?
I wish I dripped them, but I water by hand. I think it's about time to start watering. I see some things starting to wilt.
Yeah.
You deliberately stress the Cameronii to get it better color?
That one's in the ground. I don't really do much to it. But I think it kind of reliably turns. I think in the sun, they said, I think I was reading it was sun that caused it to turn color, but might be cold. I don't know.
Sure.
Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff that bulbine latifolia is blooming, and the deer haven't eaten that on the left. And then I have the cordon, which this one's probably about 3 or 4 years old, and it gets the artichoke purpley flowers, but it's such a big, huge architectural plant. I just love it. It's right outside my kitchen door, and every time I come out the kitchen door, this, big, beautiful plants there, and I absolutely love it.
Do you eat it?
No, I understand you have to eat it before the leaves actually come out, right?
Oh, I
As it's
don't
sprouting
know.
out. That's my understanding.
I thought you ate the leaf stalks.
Yeah, I think it's as they're emerging though, but obviously I haven't eaten it, so I don't know. I like the leaves too much. But it does kind of reseed a little bit, but they're easy to pull out. It's not really a big deal there. And then I have a Dudleya pulverulenta. And just to the right of that is the turquoise ixias, which are, noticed are behind the yellow ones, which are just behind the turquoise ones. So the yellow ones are earlier than the turquoise ones. The turquoise ones have really tiny buds on them right now, so they're probably a couple weeks later, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Are yours really turquoise or are they kind of a faded?
They're pretty turquoise.
Because no matter when, every time I buy them, I get some faded stuff. It's not that bright turquoise that I've seen.
They seem
It
pretty
might
bright.
be
I mean, they're a
that
little
you
bit faded a
get-
little bit, I guess. But they go
It
really
might be
nicely
that
with the
you're too
chalky
small.
color of the Dudleya, which I think is really pretty together.
Mhm.
And then above that is my Brunsvigia Josephina.
Looks good.
That's not the one from Kathy Eccles. Hers is down the way. These are from Ken Blackburn.
Oh,
Obviously, Black what?
so how long have they been in the ground?
I think I got him in 2014, and he had grown from
Okay.
seed. I think they're like 8 years old at that time. And then I
Okay.
planted them about 2 years later in the ground.
And have they bloomed for you?
One last year,
Oh, nice.
but it wasn't
When
as
they-
spectacular as I expected it to be. But anyway. And
So are you watering them right now, the Brunsvigias?
I haven't. I was thinking about giving this whole bed water because it's got wildflowers and I want them to bloom before they fade
Mm-hmm.
and before they dry out. I think a lot of times once they dry out, they don't really suck up water either.
Okay.
And I want to
Oh.
encourage anybody, if they want to go to see some flowers, Carissa Plains was just spectacular.
Wow.
We didn't go last weekend, but the weekend before. And anyway,
How long did it take you to get there?
it's probably about 6-hour drive.
Okay, that's a pretty healthy drive. Yeah.
Yeah, we spent the night at Button Willow at the Motel 6, and that was just fine.
Button Willow. Yeah. I broke down there once. That's quite a place.
Everybody has. I broke down there at least once or twice.
Yeah.
Crazy. We're still looking for volunteers to keep Cal Hort going. We haven't really decided what to do yet. We're hoping more people will come forward to help out, but that's kind of where we're at. We've got a couple of garden tours coming up, so that should be great. It's info at calhort.org. Okay, everybody. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks for the nice meeting, Ellen.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
Ellen.
Ellen.